With MSNBC political correspondent Kasie Hunt, who covers the Clinton campaign. She recently wrote about the Democratic nominee's efforts to win over working-class voters, especially the male of the species. Kasie, stick around with us to talk about your piece. So tell us about sort of the piece you wrote, the overall thesis of what's going on with Hillary Clinton and working-class men.
Well, we've talked a lot, obviously, about Trump's downward slide in the last week. But the reality is that if he is going to win this election, if he has any shot of doing it, it's going to be because there are more non-college, as the pollsters call them, white voters who show up, right? And that's, to a certain extent, what the Clinton campaign has been a little bit nervous about and why they've been playing defense in a place like Pennsylvania that really has been fool's gold for Republicans. Because if they come out or they vote Republican in larger numbers than expected, then who knows? You could have a surprise on Election Day. Right now, the discussion that they could actually turn both Ohio and Pennsylvania, followed by Wisconsin and Michigan, which is what they need, is a little tricky. But if you look at what Hillary Clinton has been doing on the trail over the course of the last couple of weeks, yes, she's working with her base. Yes, they're focused on that. But her events are almost universally aimed at this particular group of people, no matter where she is.
So Trump goes to a battleground state or not and does a rally in kind of a nondescript arena. She's been more focused. So take us through some of the recent post-convention photo ops and why she was there.
We have a lovely photo display for you. Starting in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, this is a wire cutting factory. Everything I have to tell you was covered in dirt at this factory. So props to everybody who spent the day setting that up. All the advanced people were quite dusty by the end. But the point of this, of course, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, it's a place that's sort of storied. There are a lot of people who, you say the name of the place, you understand what's gone on there, the kind of depth of the issues that they've had with the economic, really the fundamental changes to the economy. It's not just the recession, right? It's that guys like the ones in those photos used to be able to support a family in that town with one job. That's harder now. And so she's trying to say, hey, we care about you. We're advocating more for you. You saw this with Biden, too. The next one, Denver, Colorado, Naughty Ties, which, of course, we joked with John about when she actually went there.
K-N-O-T-T-Y.
K-N-O-T-T-Y, and it is where they make ties in America. So obviously, they're trying to hit Donald Trump there on the fact that he is outsourcing and making his ties in China. Got a similar thing going on here in Las Vegas. This is where she's touring the Mojave Electric Company with the head of the national chapter of the Contractors Association. So that, of course, a union group. The two things that I would tie these photos together, though, is think about the states. Denver, Colorado, Las Vegas, Nevada. Those are diverse places, right, where we almost think that the electorate's gone because there's so many Hispanics. And yet she's still there sending that same message to working class whites.
So just to review, we've done wire cutting, tie manufacturing, and electrical stuff there.
So take a guess what the next one is. I'm sad that we don't actually have goods in hand. Yeah. But this is the St. Petersburg, Florida, the Three Daughters Brewery. It is, of course, family owned. So bottoms up.
What's amazing is Trump doesn't have any of these. It's stunning. The more you think about it, the only optics of Trump is standing in front of a big rally. Yeah. This is 101 meat and potatoes optic stuff. And I said earlier, even what he's got, you don't see him with people, with human beings. You see him up on stage, period.
Of all the things, and I'm sure you experienced this too, talking to the Clinton folks, of all the things they're mystified about the Trump campaign, this I'd put at the top of the list. The fact that his events do not drive message normally. He's doing one today in Wisconsin, driving a message. But for the most part, he's doing rallies that don't place him in the context to interact with regular people driving a message. And she's obviously meticulously done that since the convention.
Clearly. And look, this, too, also puts her in small group places, right? They don't have to build big crowds. They're not putting themselves in a position where people are, comparing apples to apples to these big Trump rallies with these huge crowds. She's stronger in these settings as well. Trump, as we saw, they tried a little bit of this in Iowa and New Hampshire, and it just wasn't a setting
he doesn't
that
want
he
to do
took
it.
to.
He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't even when at the convention he flew back. He wants to be in his apartment. Bill Clinton lived for these moments. Hillary, she's doing it because she has to do it. He just doesn't want to do it.
But she has, look, she has gotten an incredible amount of experience in this kind of an arena from the beginning. Remember when everyone was chasing the Scooby van, she was going to do an event with, 15 or so people in Iowa. So they have, I think, built up her comfort level in this, and this is something that plays very well. You pick up I was picking up the local newspapers the day after. A lot of times, events like this will land on the front page. Donald Trump's rallies will as well, but it's a different kind of connection.
You covered Romney last cycle. Just give people a sense of the scale of her traveling party as compared to, say, Mitt Romney 4 years ago.
It's remarkably different, and I think this is one of the things where you're seeing the Trump effect magnified, and the difference of how both the size of the traveling press corps, but also the access that the press is allowed. And the reality is there's, in some ways, the Clinton campaign is saying privately that the standards for Trump are different. Trump isn't flying the press around on his plane. Yes, there's big media contingents, but you don't have the kind of day in and day out access. By this point, well, I would say by Labor Day, when we really hit, and he was doing events week in, week out, you're flying around in a relatively large-sized commercial jet that's full in the back with press from front to back, including TV crews, getting on and off the plane, up, down, up, down. That is not happening now. There's a very small group of embeds that travel everywhere with her every day.